4653 and get your free gold investing starter kit today. All it takes is one call to 888-787-GOLD. Take control of your retirement and protect your future with Direct Bullion USA. Call 888-787-4653. That's 888-787-GOLD.
Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, after the shooting in Maine, what do we know this morning? Well, it looks like they are searching for a man who is a firearms instructor, and they have not been able to find him as of yet. But that's who they are looking for, and it is a horrific shooting that happened in Maine.
Yeah, have you gotten a chance to see the photos of the guy, like his Facebook profile and stuff?
I haven't seen much on him, but he would be somebody that you would be trusting to teach you how to operate a firearm.
It's so, I don't know. I've
and again, it comes
so
back
disgusting.
down to mental illness. They're saying he was struggling mentally. And he is now a person of interest, at the very least, in the mass killing in Maine, where over 20 people are now confirmed dead. Coming in with a high capacity rifle, able to shoot almost as if he was carrying an automatic weapon.
So. When we often have the discussion about guns and who can get guns legally, etc., we talk about the person's got to be responsible, they can't be a criminal, and we need to do a better job of screening for mental health issues. If this guy's a gun instructor, right, it's not like I don't think he was certified in the last 2 weeks. He's probably done this for a chunk of his life, or I thought I read last night that he might have had a military background. Anyway, whatever the case might be. How do we intervene when you have a gun instructor and somebody who is obviously handy with guns, owns multiple weapons, but if they're dealing with, I don't want to say if it's just, I don't know what it is, but if it's depression, some type of an issue that occurred in his life that's changed his mindset, or this is a later in life onset mental health issue, how do we intervene in that situation? I mean, this guy just went from place to place to place.
The problem you have is legally, legislatively, we can't seem to agree on this. And the problem comes in where when this whole thing really began with these mass shootings 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Columbine may have been the first big one where you go in and hit a soft target. And when this first started, if you remember, the whole conversation was about mental health. And people who are having a mental issue, they should not. We need to get the guns out of their hands. The problem is the minute that became a part of the law in some places, and I think it was a part of the SAFE Act here, all of a sudden it becomes a Second Amendment issue where it's being used by the government to take guns away from people who shouldn't have guns taken away. Mm-hmm. So if you're in in a domestic violence situation. Maybe you're saying I was not guilty in this, and I shouldn't have my guns taken away. Now you're in court, and it becomes this whole battle where it just kind of fizzled away, right? It just kind of went away, and I don't know that became the answer. So it's easy to talk about, very difficult to execute.
I agree. And when we say, I think everyone agrees, somebody with mental health issues shouldn't get a gun. I'll ask the question again. What if they've had a gun for 15 years and they're an instructor or have a military background?
And then on top of that, you have to then prove legally that he is a risk or she is a risk. I guess it could be a she. You have to prove that they're a risk. It becomes a court battle and a Second Amendment issue, and all of a sudden, nothing is really being done about the situation. And what if their guns are taken away unfairly, unjustly, unconstitutionally? There'd be some out there who would say, well, a few mistakes, but we're saving people. Others would say you cannot make any mistake when it comes to that. So I don't know where we're going here. And sadly, until you're in a situation where I think you figure out, I don't know. I don't know. And this fixation on going in and just shooting up a mass amount of people, and that being the way you solve your mental health crisis is just, I don't understand. We'll get more on that with Tanya Powers. Get the latest here this morning with Tanya Powers coming up in just a few minutes. I didn't realize this until this morning. So the chairman of Toyota Vehicles, Toyota, which owns, I believe Toyota owns Lexus now and a number of different brands.
I didn't realize that.
Toyota, one of the big car makers in America and around the world. A couple of interesting things. Did you know do you know who the chairman of Toyota is?
I have no idea.
What the guy's name is. It amazes me.
It's going to be Mark Hyundai.
His name is Chairman Akio Toyoda.
Really?
It's Toyota. Toyoda, as in Toy Yoda. When I asked it, but this is very very interesting. I think he is saying that the people around the world are finally seeing the reality of electric vehicles, that it may not be the absolute answer to zero emissions, to pollution, and that sort of thing.
This guy's a right-winger.
So what he's saying is the industry is finally coming to recognize that there isn't a single answer. While electric cars are not out of the question by any means, we still have a problem when it comes to the infrastructure and to the technology as it continues to advance. Where he feels that people are going, and it's really beginning to happen. It's the hottest vehicle right now, and that is the hybrid. So it includes gas. It's exactly like my CX-90. You plug it in, you're able to drive around. It'll assist you. When you're driving in downtown areas and that sort of thing, for instance, all week long, if I'm simply driving back and forth to work, I don't use any gasoline. On a trip, you're going to use gasoline. You've always got that to back you up. But according to Akio Toyoda of Toyota, not only the industry but people are starting to figure it out. And isn't it interesting how it's the market that pushes us in a certain direction? This is what people are buying. And so if the demand is there, the auto companies are going to come in and try to manufacture more of those vehicles.
Right.
So, but EV sales are lagging. That is, full electric vehicle sales are lagging. And what about maybe a bus that's more of a hybrid, a school bus that would be a hybrid and not not full electric? That probably would be a lot easier for school districts to be able to make the switch over. But that is not what the governor wants, although there are plenty out there asking for that to be the push. Also in the automotive world, Hyundai is holding, and I guess this is going to be happening in upstate New York as well. There apparently is a flaw in the Hyundai, which is making it the easiest vehicle to steal. And it involves theft that includes electrics and being able to hack into the vehicle. Hyundai said Wednesday that it'll set up mobile clinics at 5 U.S. locations, one of them in upstate New York, to provide anti-theft software upgrades for vehicles, which are now regularly targeted by thieves. Hyundai is a pretty hot vehicle too right now.
Yeah.
The South Korean automaker will hold the clinics, which will run for 2 to 3 days on or adjacent to weekends, and Rochester, New York, along with New York City, are among the areas where they're going to hold this. So if you have a Hyundai, they keep warning you, be careful. Your vehicle is prone to thievery. Somebody might steal your vehicle.
And they're hacking in. They're not like breaking the lock, picking the lock, smash the window.
It's a software.
They hack in.
It's a software issue.
Boy, is that something. Imagine when your house is a smart home. You don't have to, break in anymore. You can just
hack in.
Hack in.
The New York City mayor is warning migrants. They do not have the facilities to handle the migrants, and even the facilities they do have, in some cases, are not safe. Therefore, he says, don't be surprised if you see migrants sleeping on the streets of New York City. And he's just warning people. I don't know that there's anything they're going to do about it or they feel they can do about it, but warning that migrants may be sleeping on the streets of New York City. I'm not sure that's the way to necessarily handle it.
We are so humane.
We are just giving you a warning, and, oh, by the way, legally we cannot remove them. I don't know. Giuliani was able to do it 25 years ago.
Well, was he removing them? He was doing the,
people
the
were
broken windows thing.
They were being removed.
Well, to jail, basically, right? If they were a criminal,
or out of the area, they certainly cleaned up Times Square, and I'm sure there were other areas that were rough around New York City, but not the high traffic tourist areas.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Tonight is Thursday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills take on Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's right. You guys play tonight.
And former quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick is on the broadcast team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Fitzpatrick, if you recall, during the playoffs a while back, was still under contract as a quarterback in the NFL, but showed up at a Buffalo Bills game. That had to be one of the most unique things to ever happen in terms of a quarterback from another team. It just is not something you would normally.
Contract.
He was still under contract.
What?
If you remember, you totally remember because you and I have discussed this story. I mean, I'm not saying you remember right now, but we talked about it last year during the playoffs. And if you remember, he took his shirt off. It was freezing cold out. He's got his shirt off. The fans loved him, and this may have been a couple of years ago. And since then, he is like a hero in Buffalo. Well, tonight on the broadcast, he is promising, and I am in on this. I wish Davey were here to be able to talk about this. He says if Josh Allen does this one thing tonight, he will, on the broadcast, take his shirt off in Buffalo once again. A little Fitz magic.
Rushing touchdown?
No. Keep guessing. Wrong. You're not even going to come up with it.
If he tackles the defender after he throws him an interception.
I love it. He says that if Josh Allen simply is pumped up again and not just sitting and staring on the bench. He said this is not Josh Allen. I don't know what has been done to Josh Allen, but they have, some say he has been overcoached to the point where they've taken the Josh Allen out of Josh Allen.
Okay.
And Fitzpatrick says, I want to see the old Josh Allen. You don't have to be hurdling people. You don't have to be, you could still slide, but I want to see a different Josh Allen out there, one who is incredibly enthusiastic and not just sitting there, as you have said several times, like a deer in headlights. Yeah.
So
I love Fitzpatrick. I just think he is, and it's funny. I forgot where he was playing. And it was the end of the season, but he's still under contract. And there he is. Not only, it's one thing to be up in a suite. Hey, guess who's at the game? He's in the stands with the fans and takes his T-shirt off or his shirt off and his jacket, and it's like, 10 degrees with rain, with the wind and snow in Buffalo. I mean, that guy, he is a fan of the Buffalo Bills.
I don't remember what team he might have been under contract for, but I guess I was thrown a little bit. I thought you said last season, and I'm like, Fitzpatrick's been retired for a few years. Okay, so that was my confusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I don't know, maybe the year they finally made it to the play, whatever that was, year that was. All I can picture is him in the stands with the fans, and he was a fan. Well, he wants to repeat that tonight in a way to inspire Josh Allen.
There's another connection he has with Bills fans, and in fact, a lot of other football fans. I just saw a video online, and they do, they take clips of interviews, and they become these viral, 30-second snippets that will be on Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever it might be, where he goes in pretty hard on Tom Brady. And he's like, when I came to Buffalo, they had beat us, I don't know if it was 12 times, 14, whatever the number was, times in a row. And he's like, we competed with them a couple of times, and they still won. He goes, and then we beat them. He goes, and I watch. I think he calls them like a derogatory name, too. Not like a curse word, but like coward or, phony.
Yeah.
He goes, then I watch him run off the field. He didn't even have the nerve to come over and shake hands at midfield. Every time he wins, he wants to shake your hand.
Yeah.
He loses the game, you see him, scuttle off under the bleachers.
And I keep hearing Tom Brady with maybe it's the same interview they keep playing over and over, and his whole thing is my belief on referees is the less they're involved in the game, the better it is. That is, unless someone touches him.
Exactly.
When he was on the field, when he was a player, he used those referees to his advantage. And wanted every pass interference, every roughing the passer, which was maybe just a twinge, a little. I don't even know how I would describe it. Maybe as someone, a defender came close to him, you could feel the breeze. That's pass. That's roughing the passer. So, but now all of a sudden his tune has changed, where he doesn't want the referees to be any part of the game. It just kills me. Remember that congressman from New York who, during all of this craziness with the House Speaker and the Democrat who pulled the fire alarm?
Yes.
He has now been charged with whatever. I guess, what is the charge if you pull a fire alarm?
Stefan knows.
It is a misdemeanor, and Stefan may very well know. He has been charged. And then there was one more. It does seem, and again, forgive me for this being very anecdotal, and I'm simply it's based on my own memory. I don't remember the hurricane season going so strong and so deep into the season. But this Hurricane Otis, it hitting Mexico, came in at as a Category 5 hurricane.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, that is a catastrophic hurricane. And here we are so late in the season, right? It just feels like we should be winding down on the hurricane season, even though hurricane season does continue into November, I believe it is. Let's see. This weekend is not the weekend you move your clocks back. It's next weekend, although Halloween does fall on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
And so I guess you could consider this Halloween weekend. What else do I have? Early voting begins this weekend. There's a story up on our website at WIBX950.com. Early voting, that means mostly it's 9 to 5, and I believe there are 4 locations in New Hartford, including the New Hartford town, build the old Gander Mountain is one of the spots where you can vote. And keep in mind, if your polling place is over here during early voting, you can vote in any of the early voting locations.
In your county.
In your county,
yeah.
Correct. You can't go to a neighboring county like you might be able to with the DMV, which you could do it. Taylor Swift, oh, by the way, Michael this morning saying on Josh Allen, so what is it that Fitzpatrick wants Josh Allen to do? Mike says, if Josh Allen makes the heart sign with his hands and mouth, I love you, Taylor Swift, would that be? No, that's not it. That is not it. He also says, here's a quick way to remove migrants that come from Central America, which has a rather warm climate off the streets. It's called wait till they get a load of our winters.
Yeah.
That will be a real shocker.
And if
There's
I'm not
no doubt.
mistaken, I don't know if this was New York State or one of the service agencies, like a not-for-profit, but they're doing a quote drive and they're looking for 20,000 jackets, basically. And I think the reason the number is so high is
because of that.
Yeah.
And he also says, back on the gun issue, not trying to be dismissive of this terrible tragedy, but the bottom line is you cannot legislate away evil. And I do think there's much truth to that. I don't know how you stop this without changing the hearts and the minds of people, yet you're dealing with people who claim they're in the middle of a mental health tragedy. That airplane situation where the guy is trying to shut down the engines of the airplane. The off-duty pilot says he was having depression. He'd been depressed for months and then took some psychedelic mushrooms, and all of a sudden he's trying to take the plane down.
Dick in Deerfield commented on this as well, and I wanted to wait till we got back into it. He says the satirical news outlet The Onion used to run the following headline after tragic incidents like this one in Maine. This pretty much sums up the national mindset. Quote, "No way to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens."
Yeah, and we are the only nation where this regularly happens. I just don't understand it, and I can also tell you the rest of the world doesn't understand it either, because they'll ask the question, what is it about these mass shootings in America? Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes have been doing a secret handshake after the Chiefs score a touchdown. Have you been seeing that ridiculousness?
I saw this. It's so crazy.
On Sunday, they added a chest bump to the whole thing. I immediately said that had to hurt, but I don't know. Anyway, O.J. Simpson gets into the story. He works as a co-host on the It Is What It Is YouTube show as an NFL analyst. Did you know this?
I had no idea.
The juice upset fans of Swift and the Chiefs when he made an inappropriate comment about the women's celebration.
What did he say? I'd like to see them in a dark alley.
Here is O.J.'s comment from the other night.
Did you see where Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift chest bump?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was interesting that my bowlers was hitting each other, you know. A little turn on.
Little turn on.
It was kind of hard to understand what he was saying. They bumped boulders into each other.
Oh, okay.
Is what he said. And it was kind of a turn on. People are a bit creeped out to OJ with OJ's comment there.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yes,
yeah.
It does make sense.
Today is National Pumpkin Day, and they say that the injuries regarding pumpkins and cutting pumpkins are greater right now than ever. This is where the most severe injuries seem to occur. So be careful out there as you're cutting up your pumpkin.
Yes, please be careful.
Let's see.
Although, you know what? A little dried blood on the pumpkin can really sell it as a spooky house.
I guess it could. If you're trying to say, look at how frightening our pumpkin is. It even has
pumpkin's bleeding.
The former president, Donald Trump, was fined yesterday by the judge over comments he made outside. I can't get over every time he sees the camera get close to him, he does that "I'm really angry" pose.
Oh my goodness!
The one with his mugshot. And there you have Cohen there. They're sitting right next to each other, and Trump just has this look on his face. And Cohen has the look of like a dog. You know when a dog does something wrong and you look at the dog angrily, and the dog just has this looking around the room like nothing's going on?
Yes.
That's kind of the Cohen look. And meanwhile, you look over, and there's the former president glaring as if he could actually stare a hole through someone. But he was fined $10,000. That's really not going to, it's probably more symbolic than anything, right?
Wait, for the stare he got the...
No,
what did he say?
Because he continues to go out and what they're saying is intimidate witnesses. They have said the gag order, the limited gag order, because they don't want to limit his free speech. The limited gag order is you can't talk about the court employees, you can't go in and try to intimidate witnesses and future witnesses. These are things that you're not allowed to do. And he continues to. So this is, I think, the second fine. The first one may have been $500 or $5,000 or something.
Wow.
But this one was $10,000. So take it for what it is. That seems to be quite an interesting trial as it is going on. And, of course, Republicans have now chosen a Speaker of the House. And it turns out this guy seems to be a really nice, rather unknown. We talked to Ryan Nobles about him yesterday. But he is very, very religious, very conservative, certainly anti-gay rights, anti-abortion. So you really get the same thing.
Oh, he's a super nice guy. He's anti-gay rights?
You really get the same.
Wow, what a gentleman.
You really get the same thing you get out of some of the others, but he's very mild-mannered.
Oh.
So
he'll talk about you when you leave, not to your face.
Well, I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting to see how we get into these philosophical arguments, cultural arguments, where what actually ever gets done, and are we going to continue to pass things that get sent to the Senate and end up being rejected at the U.S. Senate? So I don't know, but it's a big deal, and it's a positive. It is a positive. They finally have a speaker that so the process can begin to move forward. First legislation that was passed was aid for Israel, and that was very bipartisan and nearly unanimous. Got a break. We'll come back and talk with Tanya J. Powers, the mass shooting in Maine. She's up in just a few minutes, and will give us the latest on what happened there. Over 20 people now been confirmed dead from that shooting, and it turns out the shooting is believed, or at least a person of interest, is someone who was actually an instructor when it comes to firearms. Wow. 646 at WIBX.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
Honey, there's a lot of folks out there right now that could use a makeover.
What? Honey, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that.
No, not a personal makeover, honey. Their bathroom. They could use a bathroom makeover from New York Sash. It's our annual bathroom makeover sale. For one final week, you can get 20% off a New York Sash acrylic bathroom system. It's the best price we offer all year.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. It's the makeover everyone can enjoy. A New York Sash bathroom. Our installers will give you a whole new look in just a couple of days, with no mess, no maintenance, and no worries with our lifetime warranty.
Your bathroom will never look better. You can visit our showroom on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. Call us or lock in your discount right now online at NewYorkSash.com. Get 20% off your new bathroom for one final week.
And let our family take care of your family for less.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has been Rome City Court Judge for 24 years.
This is John Gannon. I want to ensure that Rome will be a safe hometown for our families to prosper. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Rated highly qualified by the Oneida County Bar Association. Judge John Gannon. Fair, firm, honest. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Judge John C. Gannon.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
It's 6:49 and good Thursday morning. Also tonight, we mentioned the Buffalo Bills are playing tonight. Also, Syracuse football plays tonight as well.
Right.
They get underway first. The Bills will come a little shortly thereafter. So as long as you... I'd say my suggestion is start with the Syracuse game, and as soon as they're behind by 3 or 4 touchdowns, you should be able to tune in for the opening kickoff of the Bills about 45 minutes later.
Ow.
Let's hope not. Dino Babers says, big change coming. We've closed the book on that chapter. I believe they've lost 3 in a row now. We have closed the book on that chapter. It's now time to begin winning. Let's see if they do.
We've got a couple comments that came in on stuff we hit this morning, and Phil in Frankfurt is directing this at you, but I actually think he should probably direct it at me. We'll talk about it in a second.
All right, I love a good direct comment. On the line right now, Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. Tanya, another mass shooting. And at this early hour in the morning, what do we know? Good morning.
We know that they are, good morning, they're still looking for a person of interest. They're not calling him a suspect at this point. They're calling him a person of interest, Robert Card. They have also warned people to stay alert, stay off the streets of Lewiston, which is the second largest city in Maine, as well as other neighboring communities. Matter of fact, just in the last half hour, the New York Times reported that the Maine State Police said that they have expanded their shelter-in-place advisory and their school closings to include more places. So this is a larger search area at this point than it even started being. What we know is that a gunman opened fire at a bowling alley there near Lewiston, Maine, last night around 7 o'clock. Then went to a bar, which is about 4 miles away from that, and opened fire there as well. Like I said, there is a person of interest. They are looking for him currently.
They have some photos too, right?
Yeah. They did release some photos last night, and this is before they released an identity of the person of interest that they're looking for. There are different numbers being reported as far as the number of people who have been killed. We are continuing to go with 22 people dead. The county sheriff confirmed that to the local newspaper. Last night, there was also a city councilman that had said as many as 22 people had died. I know the Associated Press has cited some unnamed law enforcement sources that they're reporting at least 16 have died. There are multiple other other folks who are injured. More than a couple of dozen is what we have been reporting.
And it opens up the conversation all over again of how in the world do we stop these, and why are these so common in the United States?
Yeah, that is certainly going to be a topic of conversation. As you mentioned, yet again, after the week, this is something that we see every time after one of these incidents happens. Everybody is, that's the question. What are we going to do? What can be done? What are lawmakers willing to do? Those are 3 different things.
Yeah. Wow. So unofficially, the number is 22. I'm sure we'll learn much more about that as the day goes on. But they continue to search for this person of interest, is what they're calling him. But again, we're back to the possibility that we're dealing with a mental health issue, and it just seems like Groundhog Day with these stories. We talk about the same things over and over again, but I don't know that there's any quick and easy solution, unfortunately.
Yeah, a police bulletin said that he is, that Card was a firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve and assigned to a training facility there in Sackville, Maine. It did not give any details on his mental health history, treatment, or his condition. I think it did say that he had reported hearing voices and threats to shoot up the military base. Again, these incidents did not include a military base. They were a bowling alley and a restaurant. So it's important to note.
Okay, Tanya, we appreciate the update. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And some of the comments you have.
This is Dick in Deerfield following up. He said, strange that we accept that people should not own some weapons like hand grenades and explosives, but pretty much anything that shoots bullets is okay. Not what the founding flintlock fathers had in mind, is what he says.
Yeah, probably not. They certainly didn't have this in mind. However, we're purists when we talk about the Second Amendment. Other comments?
Phil in Frankfurt says, Bill, why do you make being religious, not wanting to kill innocent babies, and not wanting to sodomize people bad? And I don't think you commented. I think it was...
Well, first of all, let me just say, in my belief, abortion should be a decision between a woman and her doctor, not a politician. But you can call it what you want. Secondly, sodomize. Are you saying gay rights for people, that gays are sodomists? Is that what we're saying? Because sounds like you're a little off keel this morning as well, because that's just not... in fact, most of the people prowling your neighborhoods in the valley, the sex offenders, are not gay. They're usually heterosexual, and oftentimes they're going after, it's a guy going after a little girl. So, that's sodomy.
Phil in Frankfurt just messaged back to follow up. I watched Mr. Johnson's speech, and my summary was he's a nice guy, and he's a son of a fireman, and he loves this country.
I didn't. First of all, it was Manasseh's comment, not mine.
Oh, now you point the finger.
However, if you've asked me to comment, I now have. The fact is, I said he was a very nice guy. He seems like a very nice guy that will work with people on the other side. In fact, and I think it was Rob saying this as well, and I completely agree. He's actually to the right. He's more conservative than Jordan. But Jordan is like a firecracker, ready to maybe an M80, ready to explode. Whereas this guy seems very mild-mannered. That was my comment on him. So take what you want out of that. Phil in Frankfurt?
Phil.
All right. But lock your doors. The pedophiles and sodomists are out there. Beware. In fact, there's an app that'll show you exactly where they are in your neighborhood. Do you have any more?
A bunch of comments from yesterday, and we can get to those later.
I want to talk about that yesterday with Mike Galimi's comments. We'll get to that. John Zogby is up next hour. Alicia Kozak is coming on today. She'll be speaking in the area. She is, speaking of sodomy, she is a child abduction survivor. Taken as a young lady. She was young, right?
Yeah, I think mid-teens.
By a heterosexual, just throwing it out there, and was held, was tortured, was raped and sodomized, and it was actually broadcast or taped and then played online on porn sites. And it was someone who was actually watching this online for whatever reason. They recognized her as someone they had just seen on a poster, a missing poster, and contacted authorities, who contacted the FBI. They did some research, and they went and found her.
Yeah.
And she has the story to tell, her story, and advice that she's giving to parents. Also this morning, Rabbi Diddy Walks is on talking about the issues that are happening on college campuses. He, of course, is in Clinton, where Hamilton College is, but this is something that if you're a parent of a kid in school or a grandparent, chances are you may have received a notice from your school about all the additional security that has been implemented over the course of the last couple of weeks since the conflict, the war between Hamas and Israel. I wanted to just talk about candy corn. Are you ready? Candy corn was listed as one of the favorite candies for Halloween in New York. And Jeff and I both kind of look at that and say, I don't know that I could agree with that.
It's my favorite one to throw out, to be honest with you.
However, when you look at it, it really is a popular candy that when it comes to Halloween, everybody buys it. I don't know that they actually eat it, but they all buy it. And here's the other thing. Yellow, white, and brown, right, are the colors on candy corn.
I thought it was
I could
white,
be wrong.
brown, orange.
Maybe that, yeah, whatever. But do the colors taste any different?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do either. We'll get to a little
yellow, orange, white. And then I see some here that are brown, orange, white.
And there seems to be some brown as well. Anyway, we'll talk about that coming up. Not that it's anything huge. John Zogby on U.S. politics in the Middle East, all of that, and much more for a Thursday morning. Thursday morning and a mild start at WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
They've yet to find the shooter. I'm Dave Anthony. The morning after a massacre in Lewiston.
We have literally hundreds of police officers working around the state of Maine to investigate this case.
Maine Public Safety Commissioner Mike Sauschuk, there are 22 people reported dead, dozens injured. The shooting happened in a bowling alley and at a restaurant in Lewiston.
Enormous heartbreak here on the ground. One of the businesses that was hit by the mass shootings, Shemenji's Bar and Grill, released a statement saying, "My heart is crushed. I'm at a loss for words. In a split second, your world gets turned upside down for no good reason. We lost great people in this community. How can we make any sense of this?"
That's Fox's Molly Line in Lewiston. People in the area told to shelter in place. The suspected shooter is 40-year-old Robert Card. His car found abandoned in Lisbon, Maine.
Believed to be a military reservist and a firearms instructor who had been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks this past summer after he complained of hearing voices and threats.
That's Fox's Eben Brown. Israeli forces went into Gaza overnight ahead of a planned invasion and the war against Hamas terrorists.
A preview of what is to come, a large column entering the Gaza Strip, engaging targets along the way, and not just destroying those cells along the border, but also trying to gather more information about the possible location of the hostages. We understand today from the Israeli military the number has risen to 224 people being held inside Gaza.
Fox's Trey Inks near the border. The House, after finally electing a new speaker, Mike Johnson, approved a resolution backing Israel, condemning Hamas. Most Republicans and Democrats supported it. On day 40 of the auto workers' strike, a tentative new deal on a contract with Ford.
UAW family, our stand-up strike has delivered.
That's union leader Sean Fain. He says it still needs to be approved by workers as the strike continues against GM and Stellantis. America's listening to Fox News.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is committed to supporting America's heroes and their families. Heroes like 9/11 first responder FDNY Lieutenant Joseph Maiello. He answered the call on America's darkest day, then suffered a fatal heart attack in the line of duty years later, leaving behind his wife and 2 children. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the Maiello family home, lifting the family's financial burden. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Good morning. WIBX News Time is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. Right now, cloudy skies and 54 degrees, maybe some light rain, depending on your location. Big sports night tonight coming up, Bill, as we mentioned during the last segment. Both the Buffalo Bills and Syracuse Orange will play on Thursday night. Syracuse University football will be on the road against, looking to snap a 3-game losing streak against Virginia. SU has not played since October 14th when they were blown out by Florida State 41-3. Also, the Buffalo Bills in action tonight, Thursday Night Football, a game you can hear right here on WIBX. Our coverage begins at 7:30. An upstate New York woman had to be extricated from her vehicle after she was involved in an accident with 2 tractor trailers. New York State Police say it happened on Interstate 84. Troopers say the preliminary investigation showed that a rig hit the woman from behind, pushing her into the rear of a second tractor trailer. 30-year-old Janet Colon became entrapped in the vehicle. She was extricated by EMS and paramedics and then had to be flown to the hospital where she was last listed in critical condition. New Yorkers were going to be able to get some help with paying their energy bills during the cold winter months. The Empire State is set to receive $360 million from the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. The funds can be used to help cover the cost of monthly heating bills and also make cost-effective home energy repairs. Households outside New York City can apply for assistance by going to mybenefits.ny.gov. The Governor's Traffic Safety Committee now taking part in a national campaign to improve safety on the roads. The Buckle Up Phone Down Challenge is aimed at reminding drivers to stay off mobile devices while behind the wheel and to ensure that they are wearing seatbelts. Data shows that from January of 2022 through mid-September, there were nearly 23,000 crashes statewide where people were not wearing a seatbelt, and over 330 individuals were killed. There's more than 1,400 accidents involving phone use as a contributing factor in those incidents. And what do you do if you hit a deer in New York State? AAA Northeast is warning New Yorkers that there's been a shocking rise in deer-related car collisions this year. So far in 2023, animal action has caused 36,000 crashes in the state. That number ties the record set in 2018 and is actually 2,500 more than the number of incidents reported in 2021. According to data from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, drivers are urged to be aware of their surroundings when on the road, and they say that this time of year is the busiest time of year, October, November, December, when it comes to deer and moose on the road. In New York State, those who've hit a deer are expected to pull over their vehicle and put on hazard lights and other alerts for passing drivers. Drivers are then expected to call police and provide the exact location. They should then wait for authorities to arrive. You may need to file a report in order to start a comprehensive insurance claim. More on that at WIBX950.com.
So what happens if you hit the deer and the deer gets up and runs off? You just have to sit there and wait and, all right, let's get the search party. We're going to go find the deer.
I would imagine if you want to file a claim, do you have to have a police report, or can you just say an animal came out?
We hit a deer, and we were driving in a sedan, and hit the deer in the front. The deer then went down. The car went over the deer. It was like you went up and you went down. So we drove right over the deer. And then I stopped because, you want to see what damage has been caused, and and the deer got up and just ran off. I'm not going to chase him into the woods.
No.
No,
I don't blame you. But what did you file a claim? Is your word good enough in that case?
Well, they're pretty good, and actually, I know there's an adjuster listening right now. They're really good at usually pulling the deer hair out of your bumper and your grill and that sort of thing. So
sure,
it's usually pretty evident that it was probably not always, but it can be pretty evident.
Your WIBX Weather Center forecast: chance of showers mainly.
A moose, different story.
Yeah. I think the moose might look at you and laugh, right?
Yeah,
I
think
so. Keep
Yeah.
walking.
You're screwed if you hit a moose.
Your Weather Center forecast: chance of showers mainly before 8 a.m. Partly sunny by this afternoon. Another nice day, Bill. A high of 72. Tonight, cloudy, then becoming gradually partly cloudy, an overnight low of 57. Slight chance of showers again for your Friday. Otherwise, partly sunny with a high of 75 degrees. Saturday, chance of showers earlier in the day, mostly cloudy with a high of 68. Right now, we have maybe some light rain depending on your location. We have cloudy skies and currently 54 degrees at 7:08. All right, I know I touched on this a bit in the news update. The Bills are in action tonight. They take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to kick off. Is it week 8 already? Can you believe?
Is it really? Wow. Yeah, I guess.
Kicking off action this week in the NFL.
Are the Bills like 4-3 or 3-2? They must be 4-3 then.
Yeah, I think the Bills are 4-3. Our coverage of the game here on WIBX begins at 7:30. And yes, it is 4-3, and this is the start of Week 8. Also, Syracuse football in action tonight. They're on the road at Virginia. That game is set to kick off at 7:30. The Knicks were in action last night, opening up the regular season. They lost at home to the Boston Celtics, 108-104 the final. And Brooklyn's home opener, they went down in defeat by a point. Cleveland edging the Nets, 114-113.
By the way, Mike this morning says that the Bills had better get a win in this week because over the next few weeks they've got a gauntlet that they have to go through of high-powered teams that are going to be very, very competitive. This is going to be a very interesting second part already. Boy, really? Week 8 already.
I know.
Man, we move quickly. Let's see, what else do I have here this morning? Rob is piping in on the new speaker, Johnson. Huge MAGA candidate. Yeah, he's all in on and actually was a part of the whole the January 6th election, not January 6th necessarily, but the denying of Joe Biden as the rightful winner in the election.
But he did so politely.
He is a mild-mannered guy. I mean, in fact, I thought it was kind of funny because I watched this yesterday. As he was elected, so you have Democrats and Republicans basically in the House going at each other's throat, right? Yeah. But this just shows you that there is still a little bit of respect and decorum left in Washington, even in the House of Representatives. So they go through the whole thing, and it's like if you're a Democrat and you vote this guy in as Speaker of the House, this is a travesty. It'll be the end of time as we know it, the end of America as we know it. And then he gets elected, and ladies and gentlemen, Speaker of the House. And then everybody gets up and gives him a standing ovation, both sides. Everybody. And they're smiling, and it's like, it just blows my mind, the theatrics that go on in the House of Representatives. And then as he is taking the gavel before he was sworn in, he said, thank you, because Jeffries introduced him, and he said, the Honorable Mr. Jeffries, he and I are on two different sides of the spectrum, but I know that we have one thing in common, that we both love America, and we will work together to do what's best for the country. I'm like, who are these people? Where do these people come from? You're not used to hearing that, right? And Jeffries is smiling, and they're all lovey-dovey. Now, today they're going to go into the House, and they'll be at each other's throats again. But as for yesterday, it was a lot of pomp and circumstance, and a lot of, I love you, man. I love you, too.
Well, don't say that. He didn't say that. I know Mike Johnson didn't say that because he's not a sodomite. So,
well, there was no talk like that yesterday. So, but one of the reasons that I had said is that Phil in Frankfurt, who was bothered that I mentioned that he's very religious. Well, I mentioned that for specifically a reason. He quoted a great deal of scripture during his speech yesterday. So you cannot walk away and not recognize the fact that he is a deeply religious man. In fact, said that his wife was unable to make it. He said that she has been on her knees praying for the last few days. I mean, this has been but then quoting scriptures. So I think he's a very devout Christian.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying the guy is very, very religious.
And I'm not suggesting it's a bad thing either, but I think
Phil
religious
thinks
opinions.
that I'm saying that in a negative way, and I'm not necessarily saying that. I do feel the anti-gay stuff. Haven't we moved past that? One would think that we have, but there's still people out there that feel that there should be a reversal of gay marriage. So take it for what it is. I'm not saying that this guy feels that way. Maybe he does. I don't know. Scott is in Kirkville, and with Syracuse playing tonight, it's early strategy. It's early strategy for Scott. Good morning. Syracuse with a big one tonight, and that place is it is at the very least, it's a fun pregame show to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually Virginia Tech they're playing in.
Yeah.
It's,
I say
it's in
Virginia.
Blacksburg,
Yeah.
and basically it's the only thing in town, so they really get behind it. It'd be interesting. I don't know how much you're going to see from the pregame stuff, but they're just like Florida State with the Seminole coming out and putting the thing in. So they get into it. Now they only won 3 games last year, and this is the second year of the coach. The quarterback itself is a guy from Baylor that didn't start the season as their starter, and the other quarterback got hurt. And since he has played, the offense has played well. They beat Pittsburgh and Wake Forest, and they actually scored 17 on Florida State. And so the offense has picked up, and it's interesting when it's a Thursday night ESPN game when everybody rolls into town. It's sort of like you kind of hope it was the 12 noon ACC game because Syracuse really needs this win.
Well, they first of all, you certainly need it because of you took the over.
This is the if they win this one, I feel strongly that we're going to get 7. 6.5 was the over under. There's still obviously avenues to get there, but Wake Forest has done nothing that impressed me yet. They have a third string quarterback last game of the season. So we can get this game at 5. BC's home. That's actually next Friday, an ESPN standalone game too.
Well,
it's actually at the Carrier Dome,
the
Pajama
JMA
Dome
Wireless.
there.
But let me tell you what you're saying. What you're saying is that Syracuse, believe it or not, even after these 3 losses, if they could get their blank together, they could go to a bowl game.
Yes, indeed. I mean, they only need 2. That's 6 and 6 get you a bowl, and there's so many bowls out there. The Pittsburgh game is interesting. That's actually at Yankee Stadium. It's a home game for Syracuse, but it's supposed to be the 100-year anniversary of Pittsburgh and Syracuse playing at Yankee Stadium.
Right.
So that's like the big myth. We all heard that the house that Ruth built was Yankee Stadium. It was actually the house that Syracuse and Pittsburgh built by playing a football game there. So that's a myth about.
Sure,
it
is.
Bill, Bill, one quick thing. I need your connections. I need your expertise from a comedy club standpoint because Jeff Foxworthy is actually at Del Largo.
Oh, Del Largo, yeah.
I wrote these 4 jokes. He does a redneck thing in his routine. I actually wrote 4 jokes. I'm trying to get a hold of him to see if he's interested in.
Okay, all right.
I bet he is.
Let me give you an intro. Let me give you a comic intro as if you were in a comedy club. Maybe almost as exciting as the Virginia Tech game tonight. So it'll start out kind of this way, and here it goes.
Okay.
And now, ladies, this is what Virginia Tech comes out to with fireworks and everything.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the funny man from upstate New York, Scott from Kirkville. All right, go ahead. Let's hear your comedy.
These are my 4 jokes. I like to get Jeff Foxworthy.
Okay.
You might be a redneck if the bouncy house that you rent for your children's birthday party is actually bigger than yours. Might be a redneck.
If the bouncy house that you rent
for your
child's birthday
might be bigger than your own house.
Oh, it might be bigger than your own house. Okay, I got it. Okay. I was thinking they have a bouncy house, but it's not as big as the. Now I get it. As it might be actually bigger than your mobile home. Boom.
Yeah. Now, the second of 4 jokes is You might be a redneck if the books that you gave for Christmas presents and have you back to the library by the first of the year. You might be a redneck.
I'm just not going to. Okay, and the next one.
Okay. And the next one, you might be a redneck if you think NASA is a misspelling for NASCAR. You might be a redneck.
If you think what?
NASA.
NASA.
Is a misspelling of NASCAR.
NASA might be a misspelling for NASCAR.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And finally, drum roll, please, or tambourine.
Okay.
You might be a redneck if you're at the casino and you try to put the money into an ATM machine instead of take it out. You might be a redneck.
That's a goodie. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, my feeling is your chances of getting him to use any of these.
You don't think so? You don't think the NASCAR, the NASA, or the...
No.
He's actually at Del Largo at the casino, huh?
He is,
okay.
yeah.
Well,
I'm only saying, you never know. You never know. I mean,
Scott, I'll take your football betting advice anytime, but I think Bill appropriately played Enter Sandman because I think you'll get more snores than laughs with it.
You think those? Okay, all right. I actually tried them out, and I guess it's
some people
the
like
eye
them.
of the beholder. I guess
you're right.
That's
you're
true.
right.
But I guess it is. That's what comedy is. Like, Two Broke Girls was, I thought, the worst thing. I figured people got paid for writing that one. Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. All right. What do you recommend tonight?
Tonight, I think the D, as long as they can play like they did against Florida State in the first half, can actually stop Virginia Tech. But the thing is, the offense. Got no idea why they stopped being aggressive.
I know.
Pulling up at Florida State down 21 for a field goal.
Yeah.
That was about as crazy as it comes. But
well, it makes you wonder about Dino Babers. Like, what's going on here? Wow.
Yeah, but I think they had the week off. So did Virginia Tech too, by the way. So,
okay.
But I think that Syracuse is about 2.5-point underdog. They need the game. I think that this is it. This is their marquee game. This is the game right here. And a couple of weeks ago, before this new quarterback showed up, you thought it was in the win column.
Yeah,
because
now you wonder.
This team actually lost to Purdue earlier in the year, and they weren't doing anything until this new quarterback showed up. So
all right.
We'll see. But next week is Boston College on a Friday, and then Pittsburgh. So somehow they lose today, then BC's a must.
They got to win the next two.
There.
All right, Scott. Good stuff,
right.
and thank you, man. And I hope you do well tonight. Good luck.
Will do, guys.
All right.
Thanks again. Bye.
By the way, we were mentioning comedians, and Scott in Kirkville, and Lewis Black was recently at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, and his topic was candy corn. Lewis Black on candy corn. Here we go.
Candy corn, they're using the word candy to describe it, is wrong. Using the word corn is wrong. It does not taste like candy nor corn. It tastes like something that was made out of oil. You could take all the bags of candy corn, and actually, if you melted them down, you could run a car. All the candy corn that was ever made was made in 1914. They never had to make it again. We never eat enough of it. We only eat 2 or 3 or 4 pieces apiece. Literally after Halloween, the candy corn companies send out their minions. And they go from garbage can to garbage can and collect the corn and throw it back in the bags.
That's pretty
and it appears next year.
There you go. That's why there's always a plentiful supply of candy corn out there. Coming up, John Zogby, and we'll talk about U.S. politics, the Middle East, everything going on. Wow. We'll do it next in 2 minutes at WIBX.
Stop into Mattress Express in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies. Plus, simply do a comfort test on our mattresses and get a $25 prepaid Visa card. Names like the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, Sealy, and more. Hurry, this is a limited time offer.
Hi, it's James.
And Megan.
From the all-new Destination Kia of Utica.
And during our grand opening sales event, we have smoking deals on new Kias.
That's right. We were just able to get a truckload of new 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive SUVs.
And you can lease one for just $388 per month for 36 months.
And that's with just $995 plus tax to its signing.
An all-wheel drive SUV that gets 32 miles per gallon highway?
Now that's kooky. It's just one example of the deals on over 250 new Kias, here and coming.
So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive, NP7206025, MSRP $29,950, 36 months, 30,000 mile lease, 20 cents per mile over, $995 plus tax and fees, due at inception, $0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee included in payment structure, $400 disposition fee, 720 plus FICO score. Kia January to December 2022 sales report. EPA rating. Offer expires 10/31/2023.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting WORLD to 64,000. Text WORLD to 64,000. That's WORLD to 64,000.
Listen, WIBX and Keeler in the Morning present Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy, the Laughs and Liberty Tour, coming to Utica's Stanley Theater. Fox News Channel's team, Kennedy and Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy, of course, on WIBX weekdays, Monday through Friday from noon until 3 p.m., plus Fox Business host and really contributor all over Fox News Channel, Kennedy, a former VJ with MTV, coming on Veterans Day, November 11th at the Stanley Theater. They have released some new seats and some great seats that you could pick up right now at Ticketmaster.com. You can see right where the seats are, or you can pick them up by going to the Stanley box office. Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy, November 11th at the Stanley from WIBX and Keeler in the Morning. You can also buy a ticket for a veteran, sponsored by River Hills Properties. Bill and Robin Manjo put together a program where you purchase a pair of tickets for yourself and then maybe a pair for someone else. And that someone else would be donated back to a veteran. You can call the box office for details on Heroes tickets at 315-724-4000. Heroes tickets from Bill and Robin Manjo at River Hills Properties and at WIBX.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Hey, the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. In fact, I believe Mike Galimi, we're going to talk about him, came in yesterday to the lobby of the new hospital, the Wynn Hospital, which is, we'll talk more tomorrow about certain very important things that you need to know if you have a medical issue beginning this Sunday. We'll get into that, but Galimi came in with Seattle's best Daylight Donuts coffee. The pumpkin cheesecake muffins and the lattes, the pumpkin spice, even the apple cider donuts are back, and the beautiful, most delicious snowflake rolls, a tradition at our Thanksgiving dinner every year. We pick them up at Daylight Donuts on Thanksgiving, or maybe it's the day before. I believe it's on Thanksgiving. They may be open till I'll find out exactly, but I think they might be open until noon or 1 o'clock Thanksgiving. And you have to order in advance, though. We do 24 every year. They're the most delicious snowflake rolls, and they'll melt in your mouth at Thanksgiving dinner. Call 315-724-7103 or stop by Daylight Donuts to reserve yours for Thanksgiving dinner. And yes, Minaski, we are talking about Thanksgiving dinner.
I know.
I mean, it's really just around the corner. John Zogby on the line right now. There's a lot going on in, obviously, in U.S. politics, and world affairs, particularly from the Ukraine war to Hamas and Israel. John Zogby, good morning.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Wonderful. What a very tense moment we are in history, it seems.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I have often wondered, as someone who's taught history for many years, what must it have been like on the eve of World War II? You know, when all of these things were happening throughout Europe and throughout Asia. What was everyday life like? And you know, certainly not predicting World War III, but there are so many flashpoints.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so many things that appear to be out of our control. Life does go on, but this is a moment of great anxiety.
Well, it's very interesting that you say that. I was thinking about the very same thing, because in the years leading up to World War II, for instance, there were those flashpoints. There were those things that at that time we had no idea, and I'm sure there were people predicting back then, boy, this could develop into a much larger conflict, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, Hitler makes a move, and you know, what is also interesting was the opinion back then that we have our own problems. We should focus on our own problems here and not the affairs across the Atlantic Ocean. And isn't it funny? We hear the same thing today.
Yeah, America first. You know, Charles Lindbergh was the face of that. We have, well, MAGA Republicans, but we also have isolationist Democrats as well.
So I took a drink of water at the wrong time. Okay, let's just, what is should Israel have just gone in with one huge attack, ended it, and then accomplished their goal? Because the longer this goes on, the more civilian casualties, the more they seem to lose the war of public opinion around the world.
Well, look, the Hamas attack was horrific, not only inexcusable, but barbaric, and that's a given. However, revenge and retaliation is not a policy, especially since, you know, we should have learned, you know, after 9/11, what's the end game? You know, so Israel goes in and, let's say, and it flattens out Gaza. It's well on its way to doing that. It still then has to deal with 2 million people. It still then has to help create a government. What's to say that the people of Gaza are going to accept any kind of government that's imposed by an outside, let alone hostile power? And so the obvious solution all of the time, you know, since 1967 actually, has been an independent Palestinian state. There has been less and less talk of that. That's not part of Benjamin Netanyahu's agenda.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that every day that there is not genuine peace talk involving the major regional powers, the major global powers, towards that end, the more you get this. And this is not pretty. And let me just end this part of the conversation by saying moving into Gaza is overplaying Israel's hand and can only lead to further trouble for Israel, which means decades, years of alienation and a lack of peace.
You know, the problem is the general thought is we're going to eliminate Hamas, but you'll never eliminate the hate, and this only will further fuel the hate for a reinvention of what Hamas was or could be. And I just think that you're right. I'm not sure the end game is clear right now.
Love between two parties has never been established at the point of a gun.
Yeah.
Or at the point of a bomb. I mean, this is absolutely the wrong thing to do by Israel, both immorally and geopolitically. Makes some folks wonder what the original agenda was anyway. Did they want that strip of land, you know, next to the ocean? But the bottom line is the issue of Palestine is not even a political issue for Arabs and Palestinians. It's in the bloodstream.
Yeah.
You know, it is part of, not entirely, but part of what defines many people in the Arab world, because it's the living remnant of colonialism in the region,
right.
and colonialism ended up not being very popular anywhere.
Somebody asking, can John explain why there are two separate areas, Gaza and the West Bank, located at two areas of Israel?
Yeah, Israel had claimed the land in between, but these were two areas that were won by Israel in the 1967 war, and it's been kept that way. The Palestinians had, in negotiations over two-state solution, wanted to have a strip connecting the two, because otherwise there'd be two non-contiguous portions of what would then be Palestine. But various Israeli governments have opposed that for security reasons as well as fertile reasons.
And the other part of what we were talking about in regards to the reaction by Israel, the longer this goes on, the harder it is for Israel to show the photos and the pictures and the videos of the initial attack, and the story becomes more and more the carnage that occurs in Gaza.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks worldwide, including in the United States, are being exposed to what's going on in Gaza, and I believe concluding for themselves that this is horrific right now, but what must life be like in Gaza? And is there legitimate concern? I do think Israel has overplayed its hand on this.
Yeah.
We have a question that came in from, this says FX in New Hartford. It's about Russia and the military. So his question is, Russia's military greatly outnumbers Ukraine's. They could invade in one day and end the war. Why don't they? Is Russian strategy to bleed the U.S. dry of arms and destroy our economy by dragging the war out? Thoughts on that?
That's a very good question. I think one of the myths that has been busted since the original invasion is the myth of that giant Russian army. It has numbers, but it doesn't have quality. And I think that's very important. Now, you can kill a lot of people and score a lot of gains, with numbers. But the bottom line is, when you're emptying out prisons, when you're paying folks on the streets bounties, when you're taking 17-year-olds from home, that does, in an emergency, that doesn't make for a quality army. Besides, invading a country is always much harder to do than defending one. And go to the map. Ukraine is not a little strip of land. Ukraine is a rather large country. And here we are now, we're heading towards winter over there. And, a lot of Russian armies have met their defeat in the winters.
And the other interesting part of this whole thing is, a lot of clearly Russia's power comes from their nuclear weapons, but it's one of those things where are you going there? And most likely, hopefully, the answer is no to that. So it almost allows for the threat, but it eliminates the actual action. You're left to go on the ground and invade, and as you said, winter is coming.
At the very beginning of this invasion, mainstream news interviewed some Russian soldiers. They get younger and younger every year, and some were asking for their mamas. And I don't mean that tongue in cheek at all. This is very pathetic.
Yeah.
And you're right, Bill. I mean, war is fought. Cyber war is fought. Nuclear war is on the table. On the ground, I don't know that anybody's prepared for that anymore.
Yeah. John, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
Good to talk to you again. Take care.
Have a great day. John Zogby from Zogby Strategies. Coming up, we'll do Habaika's free money question of the day. We have a lot to talk to and then talk about in regards to local politics and the upcoming election, but also a woman who was abducted as a child and was really farmed into sex and torture and served as a sex slave. And she tells her story and why parents should be very, very careful out there. We'll get to that coming up in just a second as she tells her story. All right, I want to do Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week from Rome PD, Shane Riolo. Shane, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Tell us who is this week's Wanted Person of the Week.
So Rome PD's Wanted Person of the Week is John M. Canarelli. He's 58 years old, 5'9", 200 pounds. And John M. Canarelli is wanted on 3 separate Rome City Court arrest warrants. The first warrant is an arrest warrant for felony assault in the second degree stemming from a dispute in September of 2023. The second warrant is a bench warrant for grand larceny in the fourth degree, which is also a felony, which occurred at a local business in May of 2023. The final warrant is an arrest warrant for petty larceny, which occurred at a separate business in the month of September of 2023. John Canarelli has no known address, but is believed to be in the Rome area. Mr. Canarelli is also wanted by the City of Utica Police Department on 2 separate warrants for contempt in the second degree and harassment in the second degree.
You ever have and I did not see your email until this morning. Have you ever had a situation where you opened up a Wanted Person of the Week and you looked at the person and you're like, oh my God, I know that person? I just had that moment.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, I know that person. Wow. Okay, I don't have a tip for you, but as of right now, but I've had several interactions with this person. Okay, obviously, one of the things we have talked about, Detective, is the beauty of Crime Stoppers. You can obviously there are rewards, cash rewards if the person is apprehended, but the ability to be able to give a tip to help authorities find someone and to do it anonymously, completely in an anonymous fashion, that's very valuable.
Oh, it's a very valuable tool for this department for sure.
And we've seen in several cases this Wanted Person of the Week where tips are coming in and have really led to the arrest of people who are being sought after by police. So, again, we'll have the full story up on our website. And, Detective, as always, we appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Do I look rattled a little bit? Because that just completely rattled me just a little bit.
You don't, but wow, that kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
That I got to take a look.
We'll break, and let's do Hobica's free money question of the week here, of the day. Sorry, I am rattled.
You are.
Devin, what do we want to do? Caller number what?
Let's go caller number 6.
Sixth caller through the lines right now. Your chance to win. This morning it'll be $200. Chance to win $200 from the Hobica Law Firm. Caller number, what'd you say, 6? Sixth caller right now at 315-736-0186 at WIBX.
More and more people are turning to Wheelock Disposal for their trash pickup and recyclables. Let's hear from their happy customers why they love Wheelock Disposal service. Here's Mike in Whitesboro.
So why am I a customer of Wheelock Disposal? We've been a customer for approximately 12 years. They pick up our garbage on time. The cans are always put back up right. Any garbage that has fallen out, they pick up. I drive for a living, so I'm in a lot of different neighborhoods, and I see their trucks doing the same thing. Their drivers are professional drivers and do a great job, and that's why we love Wheelock Disposal.
And now, let's hear from Dick in New Hartford.
Hi, I'm Dick Timpano. Why do I love Wheelock Disposal? Because it's easy to bring my garbage to the curb. Their friendliness, their cleanliness, and the responsibility they have to pick up my trash on time is incredible. That's why I love Wheelock Disposal.
Wheelock Disposal Service has a special introductory offer for all new customers. Check out wheelockdisposal.com. We love garbage.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Pecini hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Pecini never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff. And it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit tallmanstire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tallmanstire.com.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, there are a lot of people out there right now in need of a bathroom makeover. New York Sash is helping them accomplish it for less, but time is ticking. Right now is the bathroom makeover sale where you can get 20% off your bathroom remodeling project, but it ends November 1st, so don't wait. New York Sash installers can give you a bathroom an entirely new look in just a couple of days. No mess, no maintenance, no worries. An acrylic bath system from New York Sash will never mold or mildew because it's non-porous, easy to clean and maintain. It won't chip or peel, and it's scratch-resistant. With dozens of design options that simulate stone and tile, New York Sash also has a complete line of both quality and affordable accessibility products that can be customized to any bathroom or budget. The New York Sash Bath Remodeling Solution. The sale goes on through November 1st. 20% off bathroom projects right now through Wednesday. It's New York Sash. Their October sale is almost gone. Visit their showroom in Whitesboro or visit NewYorkSash.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, let's do Hobeika's free money question of the day. Joseph and Andrew Hobeika each day give you a chance to walk away with some cash. For your legal needs, contact the Hobeika Law Firm at 315-724-1600. John is in Utica. Hello, John. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I'm going to give you an A or a B. So you pick question A or B. Which would you prefer?
Yeah, we'll try B.
Going with B, and this is for $200. And here's your question. You have 7 seconds to answer. We need one answer. In 2008, in Rochester, New York, this became the world's oldest toy at their museum. What's the world's oldest toy?
The ball.
Is it the ball? Is it the ball? This was very controversial when this was announced at the National Toy Hall of Fame in Rochester.
All right, my guesses are Pet Rock, Slinky, or the Spinning Top.
The Rock, the
Jacks?
Slinky, the Spinning Top, the Jacks. You're throwing out answers like you can't.
Well, I'm not in the contest.
Good point. Devin, the world's oldest toy, according to the Toy Museum in Rochester.
I was going to go with Slinky as well.
Slinky. It is not the world's oldest
Paper
toy.
airplane.
John, this is awful. I almost hate this question. I do hate this question because I hated the fact that they announced this. We talked about it at nauseum, probably about a year ago when they named the Stick the oldest toy. It is official. The Stick, according to the National Toy Hall of Fame, is the oldest toy in the world.
Unreal.
Oh, Jose, I had no prayer at that one.
Yeah, all right, let me give you another one. I'm going to give you another one. This is, I feel generous.
Oh.
All right, but we're going to reduce it. It's for $100 now. $100. Here's your question. You have 7 seconds. How come you're giving him a second chance? I don't know. It's a whim. I'm just acting this way. I don't know why. Here we go. Here's the question. This letter does not appear in the name of any U.S. state. What is it? Ready, go. Just a letter. What you went with Z, right? Z.
I got nothing. It's wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah. And I had to turn down Devin's mic because he kept doing. I don't know if you heard him. He kept doing Q. Say Q. Was that you in there, Devin?
Yeah, I didn't know my mic was on. But I was talking to myself.
Live, man. Your mic was live. Q. Say
Is it Q?
It's Q.
Good job.
What state starts with a Z or has a Z in it?
I don't know.
Kansas.
Arizona. That should have been the question, John. You'd have pulled that off in a second.
Jeez, duh.
Oh, boy. We're going to give you the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card. It's a $25 gift card to Aquavino Babe 72, Taylor and the Cook, and any of the concession stands at Adirondack Bank Center and Nexus. Stand by. The Q-Master in the other room is going to take care of you. Okay, John?
All right, thanks.
All right, John. Thank you. Listen, he had the answer right away and was literally whispering it telepathically to John, but all John had to do was hear it. Q. Yeah. And you're right. Arizona. Is there another state with a Z in it?
I don't think so. Trying to think of that whole region there.
I want to switch gears here to something unbelievably horrific and serious. Coming up at an event at Harts Hill Inn, which will happen on November 3rd, Alicia Kozak is going to be speaking on a child abduction matter and why parents should be very careful. I hear this from my mom often. It's like, you got to keep telling the kids they got to be careful. You don't go anywhere alone. Be very, very careful because they are picking people up and they're taking them off and placing them into the sex trade. And you think this is far away and it couldn't happen. Alicia Kozak is here to tell you, beware, it could happen. It happened to her. And she's on right now. Alicia, good morning.
Good morning.
So, tell us your story. When I hear from my mom saying, make sure you pass this on to the kids. This is, you don't know where or when this could happen. It could happen anywhere in the country. Do you agree with that?
It certainly can, and it does happen anywhere and everywhere. This sort of crime of child abduction or exploitation does not discriminate based on community or where you're from or who you are.
So tell me, tell us your story.
Well, my story, when I was 13 years old, I became the victim of the first online child abduction. I was 13 years old, and I was groomed and lured online by an online predator who kidnapped me, took me from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I lived, and held me captive in his basement dungeon. And I was rescued because he had been live streaming what he was doing to me to other people online, and somebody saw who was watching this, somebody recognized me from my National Center for Missing Exploited Children poster. They were able to recognize the little girl in this awful video as the girl on this poster and contact the law enforcement. It was really quite a miracle, and I'm so incredibly lucky to be here.
Can I just quickly ask, every time I hear that part about the horrible things he was doing to you and he was live streaming online, was this some kind of dark web thing? Was this, I don't even know, was YouTube around back in 2002?
I think it's a porn thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was 2002 and the internet was very new, so there was no YouTube. There wasn't really social networking. It was done over a webcam in like a chat room. Dark web wasn't really a thing yet. The internet was so new, and that's why we didn't know the dangers back then.
Yeah. So so as people are watching this deviance, what was being done to you, were they thinking, this is an act, this person is a participant, except for this one person who recognized you? I'm assuming that's what people thought, that this was just part of the show.
Well, I can't say for certain what they thought, but they knew it was a child, and a child cannot consent to something like that.
I've been thinking about the fact that you were 13 years old when this was happening.
Yes, so they knew it was illegal, and somebody did the right thing who was watching this for whatever reason. And
that was my next question.
Right,
my next question was, what would take someone into a child porn, if you will? It's kind of what they were doing here. What would take that person, and you don't even want to go there. This person saw, recognized, reported, and saved your life.
Yes. That's the gist of it. And like I said, I'm just so very lucky to be here that child sexual abuse material that was being created led to my rescue. And if that poster was not out there from the National Center for Missing Exploited Children, I would not be here today, and I do believe that.
And you know that this area, I'm sure you do because you're coming here on November 3rd. This area has been instrumental in the printing of posters over the years because of a loss that we had several years ago with a young girl who was abducted, Sarah Ann Wood. Happened a long time ago here.
Yes, she had been abducted by a convicted murderer, and her body's never been found. And the ride is so instrumental and so incredible. I actually got to attend the event a couple times, and as a survivor and as an advocate, it truly is an incredible event and doing amazing work. And it started from something so small. It started from like 5 guys, and now it's up to nearly 1,000 riders.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Every year.
Tell me, Alicia Kozak, by the way, is a survivor. She was abducted at 13 years old, was pushed into a basement. You call it a dungeon, where at the early stage of the internet, somebody was live streaming the torture that was being conducted on you, which is horrific. I can't even believe that you're able to talk about this for the betterment of other kids. But how similar what you fell into, and at that time we didn't really know about these chat rooms, and this was very early. But what you fell into, how different is it today? Is it the same strategy used to basically groom young kids today?
Well, everything has changed, certainly. If you look at 20 years, this happened in 2002, and I have been speaking for 20 years since I was 14 years old, and I've watched this change as not just a human, but also as an advocate speaking and focusing on this topic. And predatory behavior has changed as the internet has become so much more part of our lives. It is, when I would speak before, I would tell kids, like, you don't need to be on the internet. Why do you need to be on the internet? There's no reason.
Right.
And you certainly couldn't say that today. You can't. It's a whole different tactic. And while we know more about the dangers, it's sometimes at this point, too, where kids are like, okay, I won't get kidnapped, fine. And it's being brushed aside as something that is unlikely to happen. And when you look at it, the predators have moved from, and essentially since pretty much the pandemic, predators have moved from not just hands-on offenses, but also grooming and manipulating children into self-producing child sexual abuse material, which is, as you stated earlier, is child pornography, but the better term is child sexual abuse material. And then they are being blackmailed and threatened, and it is absolutely horrendous, and they are being virtually abducted. And that sounds like it is less terrifying, but in many ways, these children are held just as captive as I was when I was held chained in that basement. But the technology is changing. We're seeing now with AI and just the accessibility and the fast-moving internet, the internet is changing so quickly, and predators will always keep up with it. And that's why we have to educate our kids, and we have to educate ourselves, and we have to make sure law enforcement is well-funded to investigate these sorts of crimes.
Were you, oftentimes you see where the child who's been abducted that the abductor befriended the child to the point where there's guilt and there's an affection. Did that occur, or were you just held captive? And I'm sorry if I'm asking questions that you would rather I not ask. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's what you get when you put yourself out there with a story like this. And I think all those questions are important. If you ask me something I'm not comfortable with, I will tell you.
Okay. Yep.
So I'll answer it in a general way, is that most children are harmed by somebody that they know and somebody that they trust. And in my case, it was somebody that I thought I knew and somebody that I thought I could trust. So it was a stranger in the end, but to me, it was somebody who I thought was a friend.
And there was that trust, and that's the grooming. The grooming really leads to trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that trust is manipulation.
Right.
It's false, and it's not hard to do. Grooming is very simple. It's pretending to be a child's friend and really just telling them what they want to hear and making them feel important and beautiful and special and unique and always being there for them. And today it's as simple as really liking a post and following them or playing a game with them on a virtual game.
The other thing I worry about too is I do think we take everything for granted as human beings, and this could be a child, it could be a teenager, it could be somebody a little older, it could, I guess it could be anyone. But you take life for granted. You do certain things every day. You have a routine. What you don't expect is there might be somebody out there watching that routine, waiting for the most opportune moment.
Absolutely, and children especially do go missing, and thankfully we do have the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the events like this ride that help raise money for those posters and raise money to raise awareness of these cases, because children and adults are found because they are recognized, they are noticed. And many children come home.
And Alicia Kozak, I have to say, we've heard about the posters and how inexpensive they are to print, and you're the first person I've ever talked to who was specifically found and saved because of those posters.
Yeah, there's a number of stories. Many children are recovered as a result of those posters. You don't hear about it as much, but if you keep your ears out there, you'll see that there are children. There was one case recently where a young girl was recognized in a mall because of her poster and her story being out there.
Okay, you will be here on November 3rd at Harts Hill Inn. Can you talk about that and how people can show up and participate?
Sure. You could look up the Ride for Missing Children and log onto the website and find information there. And it's going to be a really great event. These events, it's not that they're heavy. You may think that it would be something that's heavy, and while it's a heavy topic, they're full of so much hope.
Yeah.
And that's what really drives us. That's why the bikes are spinning down the road, because of hope, because of something so much lighter and brighter than the fear and horror that this is.
Wow, and you're so brave to talk about it and to do better for other kids, to prevent other kids and young adults from having to go through this. We appreciate what you're doing, Alicia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you here on, as we said, November 3rd. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Alicia Kozak. Wow.
So I didn't. We didn't get into this part. She does not say the name of the deviant that abducted and did this to her. But if you're familiar with her story, this is amazing to me. This guy served 17 years in federal prison, was paroled in 2019 to a halfway house where he was caught going online and looking up pornography. And I may have even been child porn again.
Right.
So he then...
it's built into them, right?
He then gets in trouble for that. They send him back to jail for 2 years. He's out.
Currently.
He served his time. As far as the legal system is concerned, he's... What's the saying? They've paid their debt to society.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is a free man walking the streets.
Meanwhile, she has to walk the streets looking back, hoping that he hasn't taken a bad turn and decided to follow her and look her up. Can't imagine what that must be like.
It's unbelievable to me that, I guess, ballpark, he got 20 years. But the fact that he was paroled early after such a horrific crime, and then free man. Just
and the other part
out there
of this
walking, breathing.
That the trauma and the memory and all of what happened to her cannot be paroled after 20 years.
Right.
Right? It'll be in her mind for the very rest of her life and affect her, most likely, for the rest of her life. And affect others as well who, she has a family, et cetera, et cetera. Wow. That'll be something to look for. Look up the Ride for Missing Children. Details will be there. Alicia Kozak will come to the Hartshill Inn to tell her story on November 3rd. It's 8:05 at WIBX.
This holiday season, bring extra comfort and timeless style into your home with Adirondack Home Furniture's Flex Steel Gallery Sale going on now. Experience the magic of the holidays surrounded by the finest craftsmanship and exquisite design. From over 40 breathtaking dining sets to handcrafted sofas, their furniture sets the stage for unforgettable holiday celebrations with your loved ones. Stop in today to Adirondack Home Furniture and enjoy a relaxing, low-pressure shopping experience. They pride themselves on their unmatched customer service and attention to detail. Adirondack Home Furniture has a large line of quality, USA-made furniture from top manufacturers. Create your dream home for the holidays and beyond with Adirondack Home Furniture. Living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and home office, you'll find everything on your holiday list at Adirondack Home Furniture. Visit them at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica, or browse their inventory online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Adirondack Home Furniture, helping you get your home ready for the holidays.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
All right, we have cloudy skies, maybe a few raindrops depending on your location. We're up to 55 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:07. Just to follow up, Bill, on that previous segment, Tickets for the event on November 3rd with Alicia Kovac are available through Eventbrite. You just need to go to A Night of Hope. If you go to Eventbrite and search A Night of Hope, tickets are available for that event, again, November 3rd at Harts Hill Inn. A tragedy in the state of Maine, a mass shooter who killed around 20 people in Maine last night remains on the loose today. Hundreds of police are searching for 40-year-old Robert Card. He's considered armed and dangerous and may be carrying a semi-automatic rifle. Card is being called a, quote, person of interest for 2 mass shooting events that occurred in the town of Lewiston last night. The local sheriff says the suspected killer gunned down at least 7 people at a bowling alley in Lewiston before continuing his rampage 4 miles away at a bar. A surveillance photo from that bowling alley appears to show Card carrying a rifle. A new Republican Speaker of the House is promising to find common ground with Democrats. Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana took the gavel Wednesday after getting enough votes to become Speaker, following failed attempts from 3 other Republicans. Johnson called the process a grueling battle and promised he will immediately address pressing issues. Those issues include passing legislation to fund the government before mid-November and providing aid to both Ukraine and Israel. In his first act as newest Speaker of the House, Johnson brought a resolution to support Israel to the floor. The Louisiana Republican filling the seat after former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted 3 weeks ago said that move was long overdue. The non-binding measure passed with overwhelming support and calls on the Palestinian militant group Hamas to cease fighting and release all hostages. The off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot who is accused of trying to crash a plane is set to appear in court today. Joseph Emerson is facing 83 charges of attempted murder and interfering with a flight crew. He was riding in the cockpit on a flight to San Francisco when the pilots say he tried to shut down the engines. He was put in restraints and arrested when the plane made an unscheduled landing in Portland. Emerson told police he hadn't slept in 40 hours, was suffering a nervous breakdown, and had ingested psychedelic mushrooms.
They say after he was, they got him out of the cockpit, he went back towards the back of the plane to a flight attendant and said, "You're going to have to handcuff me or something really bad is going to happen." And passengers did not know what was going on until he started trying to open the emergency door in the back, which is impossible to open while the flight is in the air. But eventually he was subdued and handcuffed, and they diverted the plane. Just a crazy story.
The element of the psychedelic mushrooms was a new twist for me. I hadn't heard that part yet. Georgia's lieutenant governor wants to allow teachers to be armed with guns. Burt Jones is promising a $10,000 yearly stipend to attract educators to a program that would train teachers to have guns in the classroom. At a Georgia elementary school yesterday, Jones claimed that times were becoming more and more dangerous. The president of the Georgia Association of Educators says, however, that teachers don't need the added job of being a security guard in the classroom. Idaho's doomsday cult mom, Lori Vallow Daybell, is being extradited to face charges in Arizona. Earlier this year, she was found guilty of murdering her 17-year-old daughter and 7-year-old son and conspiring to kill her husband's ex-wife. The Idaho judge sentenced her to life in prison without the chance of parole. Yesterday, Arizona officials temporarily took custody of Vallow Daybell so that she could face charges of conspiring to kill her estranged husband and her niece's ex-husband. WIBX News Time is 8:11. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News. We're keeping the temperatures warm today, although we're dealing with some rain showers, at least right now. By this afternoon, partly sunny skies, a high of 72. Mostly cloudy tonight, then becoming gradually partly cloudy overnight, a low of 57. Chance of showers after 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Otherwise, mostly sunny with a high of 75 degrees. This weekend, chance of showers on Saturday, at least for the first half of the day. Then mostly cloudy with a high of 68. Sunday, rain showers and a high of just 53. So this little
moment of joy and happiness with warmer temperatures.
And then reality
Short-lived.
comes right back. Right now, we have some rain showers, 55 degrees. Bill, WIBX News Time, 8:12.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. You want me to take a break? I didn't know where you wanted me to go from here.
Oh, did you want to do? You're not going to do sports.
Oh, yeah, duh.
We
I'm
could
sorry.
do that if you want. I mean, or we could just skip it. I mean, the Bills
I'll
are
just
playing
do it quick,
tonight.
yeah.
Kind of funny. We're looking at each other and like, yeah.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, the Buffalo Bills kick off Week 8.
Anyway,
Believe it or not.
I would say skip it, but you've got the Bills, you've got Syracuse tonight. There's action.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills kick off Week 8 of the NFL season tonight. They're at home hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you are not a customer of Amazon Prime, you can certainly listen to the game with us for free right here on WIBX. Our coverage begins at 7:30.
And that is the only place you'll be able to get that, right?
I believe just Amazon and here.
And here. Otherwise, and then the Syracuse game, I believe, is on ESPN.
Yes, Syracuse University will be on the road tonight as they look to snap their 3-game losing streak. The Orange take on Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. SU hasn't played since October 14th. Kickoff for this evening's game is set for 7:30. The Knicks kicked off their season last night. I should say tipped off their season. They were at home against the Boston Celtics, but came up just short, losing 108-104. And the Brooklyn Nets opened their regular season last night as well, falling by a point, 114-113, to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, we have much to get to coming up in the hour. Probably a different opinion on what's going on in Israel and Hamas and the Gaza Strip. Rabbi Diddy Walks. There is a real increase in Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Obviously, we'll be talking about the anti-Semitism with the rabbi this morning, but a big increase in this bigotry, especially on college campuses. A lot of warnings going out from schools right now because of diverse populations and differing opinions on what's happening over there. We'll speak with Rabbi Diddy Walks coming up in a few minutes. Some other stuff to get to, some comments. Let's talk a little politics when we come right back. A lot of comments on yesterday's appearance from one of the mayoral candidates regarding the hospital, the downtown hospital. We'll get to it. I think it's going to be an issue in this campaign, which, by the way, early voting starts this weekend. We'll get to it next to WIBX.
Fall is in the air, and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles, or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks. They're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. We've taken care of our infrastructure. We have increased job opportunities throughout the community. We've brought in over $70 million in grant money. Private sector investment is up near $350 million, probably more than at any time, even when Griffiths was built. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. That's why we need to continue this great work into the next 4 years. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work this November with your vote.
On Election Day, vote to re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo. Let's keep Rome moving forward. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Hello, I'm Joanne Moskal, Chief Operating Officer for Hospice and Palliative Care. At Hospice, we often hear that caregivers think of hospice as giving up, but what they are really doing is giving their loved one the opportunity to make the most of the time they have together. When a patient is appropriate for hospice, they've already been diagnosed with a terminal illness. You are not giving up on your loved one. Instead, you are increasing their care by compassionate nurses to ensure they remain comfortable throughout their disease. We want to know what is most important to you and what a good day looks like to the patient and to you. Together, we will design the care you want on your terms. We often hear, we wish we had called hospice sooner.
Hospice and Palliative Care, servicing Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison County. Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, 315-735-6484, or visit us at hospicecareinc.org. Hospice and Palliative Care. When you need us most.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has been Rome City Court Judge for 24 years.
This is John Gannon. I want to ensure that Rome will be a safe hometown for our families to prosper. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Rated highly qualified by the Oneida County Bar Association. Judge John Gannon. Fair, firm, honest. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Judge John C. Gannon.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So we have three candidates in Utica running for the mayor's race. Obviously in Rome, two candidates. I should say four in Utica because there is a write-in candidate. We'll have him back on the air. And in Rome, you have Mayor Izzo, and her challenger is Jeff Lanigan. And that's a very big race. And in Oneida County, you have the county executive, Anthony Vicente, being challenged by Mike Hennessy, who, I don't know. Have we asked Mike to come on?
I haven't in a couple of weeks. I can reach out to him today.
Up to this point, he fears me and you know, is not able to go toe-to-toe, so... won't come on the air, sadly, because, you know, conversation is so important in this world when you're trying to figure out what your vote is going to be. So there you have three big races. Let's go to the Utica race right now. Mike Galimi was on the radio yesterday, and I had somebody say to me yesterday, what do you care about all of this for? Who cares what he thought about? And I want your answer on this, Jeff.
My answer.
Who cares about what he thought about the hospital back in 2017. This doesn't matter in this race. Why are you guys even talking about it?
My answer?
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, and I expressed this on the air previously when we were going through this. A lot of the concerns that he had, I shared. You know, I don't think it's ever a pretty thing when you have to relocate businesses and you're going in to try to negotiate with them to buy their property when they're not necessarily looking to move. Somebody said to me yesterday, you know, Mike wasn't against the hospital. Nobody was against a brand new hospital. It was where were we going to put this brand new hospital? I've got some comments here.
Well, let me say the where I wanted you to go.
Sorry.
I should have just said it and not play guessing games. But what I wanted, I think you agree with me 100%, is that's not the issue. It's the issue that he's denying it. So his opponent brought it up and said, you were against the hospital going in downtown Utica. And he came on the air the next day and said, that is a lie. She is lying. I never felt that way. I was digging in, trying to do due diligence, working for the taxpayers, et cetera. He went through a whole long timeline yesterday. But the problem is these interviews that are out there are pretty obvious that he was against the hospital going into the current location at that time. And it just would be better, I feel like, better served to say, you know what, that's where I was, but I can tell you where I'm at right now. I am all in. This is enormous. I was worried about businesses, and we really worked hard to make sure those businesses were taken care of. This is going to be a huge plus. Largest construction project in the history of Utica, New York. This is going to be enormous. And it's over with. But instead, as he keeps trying to, and he says he's not mincing words, but it's exactly what's going on. He's trying to over-explain this into trying to convince people that he was never against it. And the audio is there, the video is there, the newspaper and the OD was there back when they were just that, a newspaper. It's all there, and that makes it very difficult, that's what the issue is. It's really, this is a non-issue that should have just been a blip in the campaign.
Dick in Deerfield says, Galimi practices the new political rhetoric. Not only can past statements be ignored or explained away, he won't admit that he was either wrong, that his views have evolved, or that he simply changed his mind. And that's kind of what you're saying, right?
I'm saying, just say that, because that's probably the truth at the end of the day. Right? Just say that. What else do you have?
Lance and Lee took some shots here yesterday. He called what Mike said a word salad to cover his tracks. He also said...
I would agree with that. I think I would agree with that.
Let's see. He's taking some shots at you about the Rome mayor's race.
I would disagree with that.
How dare Katie have facts and proof about her claims about Galimi? She should be like Testa and make things up and blatantly lie about a candidate she doesn't like. What a joke. And I don't think that's fair. People have different opinions.
Sure.
So see what I mean about Mike? He was messaging during the show. Unfortunately, I didn't have access to this during the show yesterday. See what I mean about Mike's arrogance? For God's sakes, just admit you were wrong, please, Mike. And then he followed it up with the word salad comment.
Yeah, and I think that could be done in a very easy way, just to say, you know what, he could even say, I don't believe I was wrong at the time. I really believe that my efforts were on trying to protect the business owners who were over there, and I felt like I was doing the right thing for my constituents. But obviously the hospital is going here. I love the fact it's beautiful. This is going to be great for us, and I've evolved, and it ends.
Yeah, and again, the other thing, too, I think you hit on another good point. I'm representing my constituents. This is a regional asset, and this is a good thing for the city, but I just can't disregard all these other things. And again, I think there has to be an acknowledgement of taxpayers have skin in the game here, but the business owners, the property owners down there, had more skin in the game certainly than I do, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think certainly than you did and a lot of other people, right? They had a sacrifice, an actual sacrifice, and for him to say that and to say, I wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. I was looking out for their interests.
Sure.
I don't think people can hold that against him, right?
There was
That's
not,
what you want.
There was not a lot of communication coming from the city.
Right.
So,
poor job there.
But, you got to take that 10-minute answer and turn it into a 20-second answer. Or a 30-second answer, and this thing goes away. But when you continue to explain around it and claim you were never against it, no matter what you're hearing, those are taken out of context, et cetera, it makes it problematic. It is not a good move. It's not a good look. I do not feel that, and we had some comments from people yesterday saying they felt that he did a great job explaining that away. I completely disagree. I think he's allowed it to remain an issue, which he could have just buried it and made it go away. That is an unforced error, in my opinion.
That's, I think, a good way to describe that, Bill. Very accurate, and I think I agree with your assessment completely. You want other comments here?
No,
Okay,
hold on a second. I'm writing down October 25th. Okay, go ahead. We agreed. Marking it down in my book.
Cindy in Rome. This is to the Rome mayor's race, and we talked a little bit about the debate, or the forum that was held, I should say. Yep. Was it a forum?
I think they'll call it a forum, but it seemed like a debate to me.
We've got some comments here on this. Cindy in Rome says, Jackie Nelson, who is the president of the NAACP, had to go down and talk to the Lanigan crowd 3 times and then even threatened to force them to leave.
I thought it was terribly disrespectful, and they, at times, Mayor Izzo was not even able to speak because they were yelling things from the crowd, and they were booing. They were, applause came from both sides, both supporters. But the booing and the poor behavior, full disclosure, I do media work for Jackie Izzo and have since she first ran. But you don't need to be on one side or the other to see that behavior is inappropriate. And it is, I hate to say, it's typical of that caucus, the Constitutional Caucus. I find it to be typical of them, and I think that is why people are turned off by their group.
Matt in HP says, I have no skin in the game, but I think Rome needs a change. And I don't even think he's a voter there, but that's his take on it. You want what Lance said? He was coming at you.
Sure, bring it on there, Lance.
All right, Lance says, here we go. He sent a lot of stuff from yesterday and today. After seeing Jackie's expense report in the Sentinel, all of the payments to you, it's no wonder you have that opinion, Bill.
Well, because, Lance, you're not able to figure out percentages, right? So those let me explain it to you. Those payments are media buys, and for the most part, and there is a percentage, a small percentage, that is a commission, we call it. In the business, it's a commission. Please do not think that number is what I made, although if I could, Lance, I promise you I would.
Lance saying here... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to keep track of when these came over. He said this morning when I just read that comment. Wow, Lance is quick on the keyboard today.
That's fast, Lance.
He said Cindy is the overpaid chief of staff's husband. No wonder she has that opinion. LOL. So,
well, I think there are a lot of people that are involved with one candidate or the other in every race, and those are the people you tend to see showing up at these events, right? Avid supporters of both sides and people who may even be connected with them. You see that a lot, and it was the case on both sides. But I'm sorry, the jeers and the yelling and the booing and the interrupting, that's garbage, and it didn't belong there. And these were Lanigan supporters. And, I would have liked to have seen Jeff Lanigan be mayoral and step up and say, hey, enough of that, guys. Let's keep this respectful. But instead, he had his own moment that I thought was fairly disrespectful, and I wonder how voters, his people loved it. The Izzo people hated it, but I wonder what the undecided people thought when he was kind of really going after her, and at one point said he moved out of Rome because of her. She was the reason. What is the reason? What has been done in Rome other than when you look, there's massive progress in Rome, like throughout Oneida County. In fact, they were both talking about the fact that they expect the question was, how will you handle it when new people and new populations move into Rome? And it looks like that will happen because of the progress that's been going on. Both of them answered that as if that was an established fact, and it is. There's great progress happening there. So why would he move out of Rome?
So my 2 cents on this is that if you thought about, like we hear about this a lot in New York State, and I wouldn't say it's directly Kathy Hochul. She's only been there for, what, a year and a half? I don't know, a couple years now, where you've had, Cuomo was there for many, many years before. I could see somebody giving that reason and saying, well, under Democrat leadership, taxes have gone up or fees have gone up, or I don't like the bail reform laws or the, the under 17 or 18. But I don't know what is it that you could say about something that Jackie or a previous mayor has done in the city of Rome that would make you move out, other than you just didn't like it.
She's fiscally conservative. She's
I'm talking about a negative impact,
that's
Bill,
my
not
point.
a positive impact.
There is nothing. I mean, you could say crime, but she's working very well with the police force there. And there's crime that has increased throughout the state and throughout the country since COVID. That's a big problem. There's no doubt about it. And by the way, what I would say, this is very similar to the situation in Utica. If I were Lanigan, I'd say, listen, I moved out to the lake because I like the water. It's a bigger house. It's a nice place. That's what we like. We want to be near the water. And it just so happens that's outside the city of Rome. Why not give an honest answer as opposed to saying, I moved out of Rome because of you? Can I play the clip? And you'll hear what went down. And I don't know that this has any of the booing in there, but let's see. Let me just listen in here.
We are going to start with Mr. Lanigan.
Okay, so this is clearly a question that is, when you take questions from the crowd, you're going to get gotcha questions, right? People who are supporters of the other side are going to pose a question. This is a gotcha question, and it's targeting Lanigan. There were gotcha questions targeting Jackie Izzo as well, and both of them had to answer the questions. Here's the question from the audience.
I'll ask the question to each of you. Okay. The first question, this is from Craig Smith of Rome. Mr. Lanigan, do you think the mayor of Rome should live, pay taxes, and use the school system in Rome?
Who's that directed to?
Okay, so he's saying that he currently lives in Rome. I do not believe that is true. There, to my knowledge, there's a small home that used to be owned by his family. I don't think he lives there, but maybe he does. He says he lives there, but nonetheless, it's not a rule that you have to live in the city in order to run for mayor. We've gone through this with a lot of cases. Katie Aiello. Now, once you are elected, you do have to move into the city. Nonetheless, this is his answer, and I think this was a question certainly targeted towards him.
That is to both of you, so go ahead and answer the question first.
The Rome City Charter states and election law states that the mayor needs to live in Rome upon selection. That could mean that on election night, or it could mean upon appointment, which would be in January. So yes, I feel that I'm a law-abiding person, and I feel that the mayor should abide by that. I currently own a house in Rome since February of 2022 that I paid on and paid taxes on. You can ask my wife that. And we have just recently moved into that home. And my son has always attended Rome public schools. So I'm a strong believer in that the mayor should follow the rules which are set out there within the Rome Chamber and also in election law, which I have followed the entire time and made the promise that I would be here for Election Day, and I am here for Election Day.
All right, so now whether or not that's true, I don't know the answer. Some people say it's not true. Some people say it could be true. Then Jackie Izzo responds.
Live, pay taxes, and use the school system in the city of Rome.
Absolutely. I've done that my entire life. Not only do I live in the city of Rome as a resident, I also have commercial property here. And I also think it's a little disingenuous. You chose to move out of Rome.
Because of you.
You chose to move out of the city.
And that was a line, because of you. And then the crowd kind of gets into it a little bit. His people would like it.
And hold the applause.
Her people would most likely dislike it. By the way, the moderator here is Katrina Smith from WKTV.
Question.
You chose to move out of the city.
So then here's the problem where it gets bad. And what she's talking about is this is where the Lanigan supporters from the back start yelling while Izzo is trying to talk here.
To the lake. Okay? That's your choice. But you're in the town of Western. And then you decide
you want to be the mayor. You abandoned our city when you moved out. So then you came back.
Hold the comments and let the mayor answer the question.
Okay, it's funny. Anyway,
I give her credit. She's doing a good job to try to keep the crowd down. Or
she's
doing her best to try to keep the crowd down.
She did the entire Katrina. You're talking about? She
Yes.
did the entire time. Anyway, so it is what it is. What it is. So take it for what it is. I feel like her supporters will like the jab. I moved out of the city because of you. Her supporters.
Say it again.
His supporters will like the jab. Her supporters will not. The question will be is how do Democrats, remember, Democrats could play a role in this, should play a role in this. There's not a Democratic candidate.
It's not a primary. It's an election.
This is an election. And independent voters, how will they react to comments like that? And I guess that's the question. So we'll find out beginning on Saturday with early voting. And then as we move forward, November 7th is Election Day. Any other comments on this?
I just want to address this here because the follow-up from Lance was that Cindy was the wife of the chief of staff, and Cindy's followed up and she said, "No, I'm not married to the chief of staff of the city of Rome."
Okay.
So I just want to be clear on that. That's not where that came from. At least that's what she's saying. I don't know who Cindy is.
And I believe Bob Cardillo will be on the radio tomorrow.
Yes.
We did have Galimi on yesterday. Cardillo released an email back and forth that he had with, or his campaign had with the president of the Utica PBA, Josh Harrington. And Josh stated, listen, we aren't screening, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't have it in front of me. We're not screening. In fact, we already know everything about Bob, and he should not have stayed in the race after losing the primary. He cost us back in 2011 when Paul Murray was elected, and a Democrat became mayor. And now he's about to do it again. So he will not be screened. And I have to tell you, he'll be held accountable. Again, I'm paraphrasing. He'll be held accountable if Utica elects a socialist as its next mayor because Bob is staying in the race. That is the head of the PBA. And please don't hold it against me, Josh, for paraphrasing there, but I think I got it pretty close. Josh Harrington on the line right now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Do you agree? That's basically, in summary, what you had said back and forth with the campaign.
That is, yes. And we believe that Mr. Cardillo played a role in electing Rob Palmieri as mayor. Now, I'm not saying anything ill about the mayor. I think he's done a fairly good job. We've had our differences through the years when I've been in this position, but we've been able to come to terms on a lot of things.
So one of the criticisms that Cardillo had, and I imagine we'll hear tomorrow when he's on, of your comments, were the comments about Celeste Friend, saying that she might win, which, by the way, that's what you're potentially predicting could happen with Bob staying in the race. She might win, and you're calling her a socialist. You're going to have to probably work with her. How do you respond to Bob's comment there?
Sure. Well, here's the deal with Miss Friend. I've tried to reach out to her. I go to many council meetings. I try to say hello. She will not talk to me. She hasn't talked to other officers. Meet the candidates at the Nexus Center. I said hello to her. She ignored me, put her nose in the air, and walked away. Now, I tried to talk to each candidate at that event to try to see what they had to say, and she hasn't. And the reason I say she has socialist views. She talks about social workers coming in and talking to people who are committing crimes. That happened in California. Social workers have gotten killed. It's not a place for a social worker. Her views are in line with the socialist agenda. She has.
We would agree, though, that a social worker and socialism are not connected.
No, it's not the same thing. You're absolutely right. Yep. But so things that she said in the council meetings has got us to that conclusion.
Can you, Josh, forgive me? Can you give another example of something you feel like is under the socialist agenda? Opinions on topics, issues that she's expressed at those meetings?
Well, it's tough to keep track of everything. She changes her views each time. So she says a line, and then she goes and says, "Well, I did say that, but I take that back." And so there's so many things that are out there to list one thing. I mean, there's so many things that she just doesn't focus and stick to her word. I believe. I think that she's not going to be fiscally responsible for the city. If the city doesn't move forward in good finances, then we don't get a good contract, which in return it's tough to retain officers, it's tough to recruit officers. I just believe that Mr. Galimi is the better fit for the city of Utica. I think he knows legislation, he knows how the city works much better than Ms. Friend. And he's a better communicator. And he's listening. He approaches us and says, what needs to be fixed? What is the issue? I've attempted to talk to Miss Friend in person, and she walks away. And that's not just me.
Josh, let me follow up.
It's not just me. That's other officers as well.
I want to follow up on that one point. I don't know.
Do you think she's anti-police? Because she says she's not. And actually,
she says she's not since she started this campaign.
Right.
I think before she started running for mayor, yes, I do believe she was anti-police.
Okay.
I don't think that she maybe not anti-police. I think she didn't support the police. She didn't want to talk to us. She didn't want to communicate with us.
Okay. And would you also agree? And I know Jeff, you have a follow up, and I'm sorry. Would you also agree that Utica? I feel Utica, Oneida County. Police forces throughout the region, including state police, we seem to be very much ahead of the curve when working with inner cities, working with minorities, unlike the rest of the country, a lot of that terrible stuff that was going on, we have been way ahead of that and didn't experience those things. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely. We have a great relationship with the community. We definitely rely on them to do our job, and I think we have a very positive relationship with the community.
Yeah, I agree. And you guys should be, you really, that is a major positive and a major accomplishment. And, it's every member of the police force right up to the chief who does an amazing job, I think.
That's right. It is true. And they have done a good job of getting ahead. And trying to, we have a community policing unit that goes out there and tries to communicate as much as possible with the community. Right. And the chiefs take the phone calls directly a lot of times from the public with concerns that they have, and we try to take care of them immediately, any concerns that the public does have. Now, the reason I have, now, even locally, you say locally we haven't dealt with this, but we have politicians like Anthony Brindisi, and I was on your radio show campaigning for Danielle Fogel. Anthony Brindisi voted for anti-police bills when he was in Congress. Marianne Buttonshon voted for the bail reform and discovery laws and all those things. That it's not keeping the community safe. Those bills are for offenders, and they're not for victims. We're not protecting victims with those things, and so the local politicians do play a big role, and they have unfortunately the Democratic Party, and I'm not anti-democratic. I don't want you to think that. I think that they have made it very hard for law enforcement to do their job.
Seems like it's a big downstate versus upstate, and I will say, Marianne has done a lot.
Can I just address that?
You were working with her.
Yes. So
at the time,
that was rolled into the budget. It was something the governor used to do.
Same thing
it
with Brindisi. Both of those were rolled into budgets.
I mean,
that's the excuse she gave us. She said that it was rolled into education. She had no excuse. She had no other choice but to vote for it. I don't buy that. But the point of the whole phone call is that we support Mike Galimi. We believe he's going to do a better job. He's a better communicator, and I think that he is going to be a better fit for Utica. I don't think Celeste Friend can focus on the job. There's reviews from her students from the college saying that she can't stay focused on the agenda. She goes off on tangents often, and you can Google search that and look it up. And
it's funny, my Believe me, I'm well aware of those websites. My daughter is all about that. Like they oftentimes kids will use that when they're picking a course because this teacher gets a really bad rating for A, B, and C. They don't want to go to that. It's. I'm not saying that's Celeste. I'm not
You're
agreeing
just familiar
with you.
this,
But
these
I'm
websites,
familiar with this website. It's
Yeah.
these kids are brutal on some of these teachers.
Sure, they are. They are, but it's a concern. If we're talking about a contract and she's talking about paving the roads, I mean, that has no, they're two different things.
Okay.
All right. So can I just ask one thing in here? When it comes to the endorsement, is it something that you decide? Is there an executive committee, or do all of the rank and file members of the Utica Police Department get to weigh in on that?
We have an elected board, and I present people come to us for the endorsements, and I present the names to the board, and we discuss it. Now, the reason why we didn't screen Mr. Cardillo is because he lost in the primary one, and he's involved in the school stuff, and we're not sure what his outcome is going to be from that investigation. So the unknown is concerning to us. Could he be in office for 3 months, and all of a sudden he's, if something happens with the school board, and now the president of the council is now the mayor.
Josh, do you know something we don't know yet? I mean, chances are, as a police officer, you know
don't,
a lot that we don't know.
I don't.
In
I
this
don't.
case.
But it's like I said, it's the unknown. He is listed in those investigations, and so that's concerning. So that was one of the considerations of not. Like I said, we waited until after the primary to do any endorsements. Mr. Cardillo lost. It was. We believe that he was going to be out of the race, and it was going to be between Mr. Galimi and Miss Friend.
Okay.
And
you feel that that Mr. Cardillo could create the same outcome as 2011?
I believe that that's what happened in 2011, and that could be a similar situation, yeah.
Okay.
A couple comments coming in. Please ask him to give, this is from Lance, please ask him to give one example of her being anti-police. It's a very slanderous statement that he just made. Go ahead.
What it's not just an incident where I've tried to approach her. She refuses to talk to other police officers that have come forward with concerns that we've had, and she flatly refuses to speak to us. I mean, if she was in support of us, why wouldn't she hear our concerns that we have? And if you're not anti-police, then why wouldn't you talk to us in a professional manner? That seems pretty clear to me. She doesn't want to communicate with us.
Have you heard some of the comments she's made on during the campaign? Admittedly, during the campaign, she does seem to speak very highly of the police and say that you guys are very well qualified and trained, and you do a great job, and you have a very difficult job. I'm just curious, if you've heard any of that, what do you make of it when you hear it?
I do, and I, like I said earlier, she started saying that when she was running for mayor. I don't understand why she couldn't communicate with us prior to that. I think it's a ploy just to say that she is for the police, and I believe that's all it is. But I truly believe that Mr. Galimi is going to be the better communicator and the better leader for the city of Utica.
Josh Harrington, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Keep in mind, Bob Cardillo will be on tomorrow. If you have any interest in piping in tomorrow. But Bob will be on. I'm not sure the exact time, but sometime tomorrow morning. So, Josh, thank you. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. All right. Okay. Have a great day. All right, coming up, Rabbi Diddy Walks. I want to talk about the feared bigotry that's going on in the college campuses right now, whether it be anti-Semitic or anti-Arab or anti-Muslim, anti-Palestinian. It's going on. Certainly, the rabbi can talk to the anti-Semitism that is happening on college campuses. We'll speak with him coming up next. Then John Decker on WIBX.
Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
I'm Anthony Pacenti. As county executive, I tackled tough issues. I acted to make our schools safer for our children. I immediately stopped the immoral attempt to bus illegal migrants into Oneida County. I continue to work every day to combat the scourge of the opiate epidemic in our community. I will continue to tackle tough issues head on, and I won't let bad decisions in Albany stop us. And I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Leadership and a vision for the future is how Oneida County is moving forward. Oneida County Executive Tony Pacenti.
We've made significant investments in healthcare and public safety, created new opportunities in tourism and youth sports, and invested big in high-tech, state-of-the-art research, resulting in high-quality jobs right here at home.
Oneida County is working, growing, and moving forward. On November 7th, let's keep it that way. Re-elect Tony Pacenti, Oneida County Executive.
Paid for by friends of Tony Pacenti.
Right now, it's Steve Honey Mazda. It's the Move to Mazda sales event, and it's back. Ricky Z says enjoy 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 CX-30s. And they've increased their inventory so you can save when you finance or lease any new award-winning Mazda as they continue their Move to Mazda sales event. As he says, let's make your deal on a Mazda from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. It's always easy to do business at Steve Honey Mazda.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, we've, of course, as always, run behind. I want to squeeze in Rabbi Diddy Walks, who is in Clinton, and John Decker is coming right up. A lot to speak with regarding Washington and world affairs with John Decker. Rabbi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Bill? It's been a while.
It has, and I'd like to try to work it out where we can get you in studio. I'd like to go more into this story sometime soon. But for right now, what's happening with the war in Israel and the Gaza Strip? We're seeing this kind of play out on college campuses. What are you experiencing?
So as an off-campus, I live in Clinton, and we have a Chabad organization, a Jewish organization that works with students locally. We're not affiliated with any college, but we are in touch with many students, specifically at Hamilton College, and I think they're seeing what's going on around the world. Obviously, and specifically around college campuses. Obviously, the attacks themselves 2 weeks ago were horrific, and the initial response was just pure horror. And I had students coming over just to discuss that, and continued to be really traumatized and fearful because they weren't calling for just the death of Israelis, but really of Jews, and that's what they say in their charter and in their words on that day. But then seeing the reaction, the lack of reaction and clarity from administrators around the country has been terrifying, because there has not been the clear outcry that they've had, or the clarity of moral judgment when it came to other social issues, that colleges were so easy to jump to take a side, and in this one they just couldn't say that it was wrong unequivocally. And that it was more of, escalations, or it was more of a growing tension, or a larger issue. There's no larger issue that calls for the beheading of babies, the raping of women, et cetera, et cetera. So that was scary. And then the reaction, quite frankly, from anti-Israel students or pro-Palestinian students, and there's nothing wrong with fighting for a cause or being pro-Palestinian or being critical of Israel, but there is a problem when you call for the annihilation, for the quote-unquote decolonization of Israel, which is obviously a loaded term. It's an ahistoric term, and we can discuss that later when we come in. I'm happy we got to touch base. I happen to be on the road, but I think there's a lot of fear and confusion surrounding that, and what it basically, I'll just conclude that it basically puts the very knowledgeable student in a more, they're a little bit more comfortable because they can fight with facts back, but for many people, they're being told certain things which are just patently false, but it's very difficult because their professors, or many times professors or administrators, are either on that side spewing some of those things, or are just not not being vocally critical and not having real conversations and really just taking the other side.
All right. I'm going to give you to Devin, and let's see if we can book you to get you in studio and get and dig into this, because listen, it's affecting campuses around the country. So, Rabbi, we always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for getting me on, and good to touch base.
All right, stand by. Devin's going to chat with you. I want to switch to John Decker. John, I apologize for the delay. Boy, that is something that's happening around the country on college campuses right now, this battle between pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel and pro-Jewish people.
Well, that's right. You know, there was a question that was asked by a Fox Business News reporter just the other day in the briefing room on this very issue. And I thought that Karine Jean-Pierre, in responding to that question, didn't handle it well. In fact, I don't think the administration thought that she handled it well. In fact, the next day after that question was asked and giving her a poor answer, she came back and she read a statement in which she unequivocally stood with those individuals who feel on college campuses like they can't express their viewpoints. And they can't just go about, their lives on college campuses. We're talking about Jewish students. We're sometimes talking about Palestinian students as well, and that's the reason why she cleaned up her remarks the day after. She didn't handle it. Sometimes happen with press secretaries. You don't respond the first time well to a question. You come back with a prepared response, and that's what happened just the other day in the briefing room.
Congress, the House of Representatives,
has a new speaker.
Has a new speaker. Big day yesterday.
Yeah, it was. 22 days without a speaker. They've settled on Mike Johnson. It's pretty remarkable, Bill. He was sworn in for the first time as a congressman back in January of 2016. Pretty remarkable. I'm sorry, January of 2017. Here we are 6 years later. He's Speaker of the House, third in line to the presidency. That is a tremendously fast rise for a congressman.
Boy, we really quickly forget. Third in line for the presidency.
That's right.
It's a big job.
And so, Mike Johnson is someone who's from Shreveport, Louisiana. We have a station there in Shreveport. He does interviews with that station all the time. Comes without any staff. I think some things are going to change now that he's Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Given that he's third in line to the presidency. But he is someone that was able to get the support of every faction of the Republican Party in the House, those that come from districts won by Joe Biden, and of course, the Freedom Caucus members. So got unanimous support yesterday. He was the fourth nominee put forward in just the past 3 weeks, and I guess you could argue fourth time's the charm for Republicans. And he's got a lot on his plate, including trying to resolve the issue of the U.S. possibly running out of money by midnight on November the 17th. So that is a big issue on his plate right away.
Amazing that he's probably more conservative than any of the candidates who've been trying to become Speaker of the House.
Well, I think that if you matched up his voting record with Jim Jordan, they probably match up almost identically. I think the problem was, how do they carry themselves, and Mike Johnson is very likable, and I think that counts for a lot in these types of races, for Speaker, and the reason why he got the support, even from those who were opposed to, Jim Jordan, they like the way that Mike Johnson, even though he may not see eye to eye with every member in the conference, they like the way that he deals with individual members.
Yeah. It was very interesting yesterday. It seemed like kumbaya in the House. Republicans, Democrats, all a standing ovation. We probably won't see that today, but we certainly saw it yesterday. So
yeah, we saw it one day, and I think it's a good thing for Republicans. I think they recognize this was not a good thing for Republicans in terms of the look. Absolutely.
John, as always, thank you. We'll check in again next week. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bill. Bye-bye.
All right. John Decker, the chief White House correspondent for Gray TV. Got to go. We're back here tomorrow morning. Kilmeade next with WIBX Utica, Rome.
Hi, I'm Mike Delaney. When elected mayor, backed by 8 years of direct action with the people as council president and decades of professional experience, I will establish a new roadmap for our city based on the needs and concerns garnered from your doorsteps. Standing alongside you as a fellow citizen, I will lead as a trustee of our tax dollars with a keen attention to detail, committed to setting policies that will improve the delivery of all city services, holding our government accountable. On November 7th, make the right choice for Utica. Vote Mike Galimi for mayor.
Paid for by Mike for Mayor.
On behalf of IBEW, Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Syracuse University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Syracuse University's partnership with the IBEW will provide talented students the opportunity to advance their careers while shaping the future of the electrical trades and the industries they serve.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW